Oh, thank God. Hi, everybody. Welcome to GameGorgon. My name is Krug.
Please. Garbage. I'm Indigo.
Today we're here to talk to you about conditions in Pathfinder 2nd Edition playtest. The things that you get when bad things are happening to you. Usually. Bad things.
There are a lot.
Yes, there are like 25 conditions. We're not going over all of them.
Yeah, exactly. Just to start it off, we're doing about half of them right now, and then there's going to be a part 2 next week, and you can enjoy an additional collection of conditions.
Yeah, and some of them are actually pretty complex. This isn't going to be blah, 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 blah. Conditions are just things that affect your character and change the state that you're in some way or another. That's very vague, and that's because conditions do a lot of things, but we're going to be going over them specifically, so just stay with the vagueness for a while.
Definition, here's a thing that does a thing.
Basically, that's what it says, yeah. There are some conditions to using conditions. Some conditions have a numerical value next to them, which is called the condition value. That's going to determine the magnitude of the condition. So for example, if a condition reduces your speed, it would have the reduction next to the condition. So hampered 10 would reduce your speed by 10 feet.
Now, if that value reaches all the way down to 0, that means the condition ends, which means that it will always go in a downward fashion.
Yeah.
It's never that the higher the number goes, the better off you are.
Yeah, exactly. If you receive the same condition multiple times, you're only going to pay attention to the highest of the 2 or 3 or 4, whatever, conditions that you have applied to yourselves. They don't stack additively, so if you get your speed reduced by 10 with the hampered condition twice, it's still reduced by 10. Now, that having been said, they do overwrite each other. So if you have a condition that is less severe and then you receive a more severe version of that same condition that has a shorter duration, once the more severe condition expires, you revert back to the less severe condition if it still has a duration.
I was trying to think of the terminology that is used for prison sentences.
Concurrent.
Concurrent, there you go.
Now, with that having been said, if something removes a condition from you, it removes all instances of whatever condition it's removing. So if something removes the slowed condition from you and you have slowed 10 and slowed 30, you are now not slowed at all. Both of those are gone.
Now, are there, and this may be a question that you don't have the answer to, is there a situation where you have hampered 10 and hampered 30 and something says, you know, remove up to hampered 20?
No.
It's just always of a condition and not a quantity.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's not the case anywhere as far as I can remember. But that having been said, always abide by the text of the ability you're using to remove the condition as well.
True.
Even if it contradicts something in the general rules of condition, the specific rules of your ability will override that. And that's kind of how the rules work in general. Specific rules override general rules.
And I feel that this is an obvious statement, but also work with your GM.
Yeah, if it doesn't make sense, then don't do it. And if it does make sense, do it.
Let's say you're hampered because you walked through something that was sticky, but then someone threw a net on you, and you know, someone washed you with water. So
that doesn't remove the net, unless the net's made out of sticky. Next, we're talking about counteracting conditions. This is a specific mechanic that applies very heavily to stuff like poisons and diseases. If you want to counteract a condition, there's a table on page 320 that you're going to need to reference. That's going to give you the counteract level of effects and abilities. And based on the condition that you have and the severity of the condition, you're going to be able to either counteract a condition automatically if your counteract level is greater than the counteract level of the thing you're trying to counteract. You can also make a check, and for each level of difference, each level that your counteract level is lower than the condition you're trying to counteract, you get a -5 penalty to the DC. The DC is just whatever makes sense for the situation. If you're more than 4 counteract levels below the effect you're trying to counteract, you automatically fail. This is preventing like a level 2 spell from counteracting a level 20, you know, effect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Nonsense.
No matter what the condition is, unless specified, we should just, you know...
Unless specified for everything.
Your speed actually can't be reduced below 5 feet.
Yeah. Now this is something specifically for speed reduction, not for stuff like, you can't take the move action.
You're asleep.
Yeah.
Well, then I would like to take my movement action 5 feet.
It doesn't necessarily reduce your speed, it's just you can't move.
Yes.
Those are two different things. Some abilities do say, apparently, according to the book, that you can reduce the speed to 0, but the ability will specify that. If the ability isn't specifying that the speed can be reduced to 0, then it doesn't get reduced below 5. Now the main course, conditions. We're going to talk about specific ones, the first of which is accelerated, which is just an increase of your speed. Accelerated is going to be followed by a number. That number is the speed increase that you get. It's the only simple one. Enjoy. There's actually one last thing. If the accelerated condition doesn't have a movement speed type defined in the ability that's giving you accelerated, then it applies to all movement speed types, but only the ones you already have. It doesn't, for example, give you a fly speed if you can't already fly. That's cheating.
I mean,
it's cheating.
The next condition is asleep, which if you can't tell what happens, you fall asleep. You fall prone to the ground. You can't take any actions on your turn. You get a -4 to your AC, which seems
generous.
Really generous.
Should have reminded.
You're also unable to, make reflex saves.
Yeah.
So you automatically crit or critically fail.
You automatically crit reflex
You're so
saves.
good at it, you automatically crit.
Yeah.
Compared to the -4
You're not
to your
going to avoid
AC.
a fireball.
Yeah, exactly. You can't avoid this. You can't avoid someone stabbing a sword into your neck while you're asleep, even with armor. Now, if someone does do damage to you, it ends the effect.
Yep.
An ally can actually take an action to make an attempt to wake you up.
Yep.
And if you make a lot of noise, like, the middle of combat, the GM could make you wake up.
Yep.
Or make you roll to wake up, at least.
And that is with the -4 penalty to your perception.
You also get a -4 to your perception.
Next up is blinded. This is when you can't see. This can be magical in nature. This can be, please don't touch me there. Oh, not there either. Not there either. Nope. Thank you. This can be either magical in nature or just caused by something in front of your eyes. This doesn't have to be like, pocket sand attack. This could just be that you're literally blinded.
Yeah, sure.
First of all terrain to you is considered difficult terrain. I don't know what actual difficult terrain is considered. I don't know if it goes into like double difficult terrain, but I think there should be some sort of maybe GM creativity here where if you're blind and you're trying to traverse difficult terrain, maybe there's some sort of check that needs to be made to actually progress, or else you like fall or something like that.
I mean,
but
it
the
makes
book
sense,
doesn't
though.
say that, for whatever that's worth. It just says that all terrain is difficult terrain for you. All creatures are unseen by you. Now, you have to go and check our Dex video for all of the like sense conditions, seen, unseen, concealed, so on and so forth. They're all explained back there. We don't want to explain them again because they're really complicated, so just go check that video out. You can make the seek action if you wish to kind of discover the location of things. But they only become sensed by you. They can't become seen by you because you're blind. You automatically fail or critically fail perception checks based only on vision, whichever is worse. The only reason they write it that way is because some checks don't have a critical fail. Lastly, you're immune to visual effects, obviously. Like if there's an illusion that's only a visual thing, you can't see it, so it doesn't work on you. And then the blinded condition also overrides the dazzled condition.
Okay.
Which is something that you need to be able to see.
Yeah.
Experience.
Yeah, makes sense.
And this is our first case of something being overridden, so there you go.
Now, if you don't have the blinded condition, you can see how awesome these shirts are that Void Merch sent to us. I didn't tell Krug about this beforehand, so this is a legitimate reaction.
That was good.
If you like them as much as we do, you can head down to the description and see a link to their website where you can pick up some yourself.
Oh, I have anything to add to this? That was great. 10 points.
Next is broken, which applies just to objects.
Yep.
While some of us may be broken people, that's a completely different condition.
That is I'm sad now.
When an object has this condition onto it, it basically has no practical use at the time. There are some means of, like with armor, that you can repair broken items, but it just means that it does not use its practical use. And if it is something like armor, for example, you do take the limitations that by wearing it. Of having that armor. So your armor check penalties will still exist. You're not gaining the AC bonuses.
All of the bad stuff, none of the good stuff, just throw it on the ground. It's literally useless.
Throw it on the ground, finish the fight.
Yeah,
then,
exactly. Well, maybe don't take it off in combat. That'd be...
I don't know, because I think it would depend on the GM on how they want to do it.
That's true. If it's broken, it's probably easier to just like...
I imagine it not so much that like the metal plate has got a piercing through. It's more like
because then it would still be useful.
Exactly.
At least a little bit.
Exactly.
If it's
to
not
me,
giving
that's
you,
a dent.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not giving you any benefits, like it's not attached to your body very much anymore.
Exactly. So I would easily be like, all right, you spend an action, or maybe even two, depending on like how, like where you slice the belt straps that keep the armor together.
That also just gave me shivers. Just like imagining that. That's such a cool moment. It's just like, this is done. Cool. I'm not. Let's go.
Exactly. Work with your GM.
Next is Concealed. We went over it in our Dex video, so we're skipping it. Next is Confused. If you're confused, you can't use reactions, you can't delay, and you can't ready an action either. On your turn, you have to use your actions to attack the creature that attacked you most recently since your last turn. Now, if no creature has attacked you since then, you get to roll a d4, and it's gonna be fun. On a 1, you attack the nearest creature. It doesn't say nearest enemy, it says nearest creature. Your allies are creatures. I just want to make that abundantly clear.
Sure.
If your ally is the closest thing to you, you're attacking your ally.
If you roll a 2, you're attacking yourself.
Not only are you attacking yourself, you automatically hit and deal damage normally.
You're not dodging yourself.
No. If you roll a 3, you use all 3 of your actions on your turn to babble incoherently.
If you roll a 4, you can act normally. So, congratulations, you got a round that you can act normal.
You're lucky.
Next is Dazzled. Now, yes, if vision is your only precise sense.
A sense that you can use to determine the, like, exact location of something.
All objects are hidden from you.
Yes, everything. So, for example, smell wouldn't be a precise sense for me because I can't smell a pizza and know whether it's coming from my room or the kitchen. I can, you know, make some, you know, educated decisions that it's probably coming from the kitchen, but it's not because of my nose. It's because of,
I don't know. I think that might actually be a precise sense for that. For example, in the house doesn't smell like pizza. You could follow and find the pizza based off of your scent, but if you're in a bog, right, and you're hunting a frog in the bog, it's going to be difficult for you to hunt it via smell because the area smells the same. The pizza in the house, you could super find the pizza without you, like, you're using your vision as a means to get around, but you're not using vision as a means to find the thing. You're using your scent.
So I think the thing is, the important things here are, 1, I think that makes a lot of sense. 2, it's not defined in the book. And 3, if that makes sense to you, use it. And if it doesn't, come up with your own thing and write it down in the comments.
Ooh.
Boom. The next condition is dead. This is what happens when you die.
And not like, oh my god, I am so dead.
No, not that dead. This is like D-E-A-D, not D-E-D. Unless something specifically targets dead creatures, you are considered an object. Your corpse, I guess, is considered an object. Like the thing is that your health is set to 0 and can't change until you get rid of the dying or of the dead condition.
But so you can take additional damage. And
you can't take additional damage. Your health is 0. And that's an important thing. There is no means by which you can adjust your health from 0. If it was negative before, it doesn't matter. It's 0 now.
Yes.
And you can't change it until you remove the dead condition.
The next one is Deafen. Yep, exactly. If you can't tell, it makes it so you can't hear things, so you're going to critically fail any sort of perception check involving sound. You're also going to be taking a -2 on any perception checks, period. Yes, exactly.
What? Next is Drained, which is always going to come with a condition value. Drained is the condition that you get when you're missing life essence, whatever that happens to be for you. Usually it's blood, like if you have a vampire that sucks out your blood. It can be other things for other ancestries, maybe some that come out down the road. When you're drained, you take a conditional penalty equal to the condition value on fortitude save and constitution-based checks. You also lose a number of hit points equal to the condition value times your level, and your maximum health is also reduced by that amount. You can slowly get rid of this condition, and every time you do, you're going to recalculate your maximum health.
Yeah.
So if your condition goes from 3 to 2, you're going to redo the multiplication, change your max health, but you're not going to heal the health back from your health pool. Now, automatically, when you complete a rest, your drained value is going to be decreased by 1. This is after the end of the rest, so after you've already regained health from the rest, if that happened during your rest.
Next, the condition that I will never, ever, ever use.
Same.
unless it's very story-driven. Encumbered, which is when you're carrying more than what you can carry. It's like, oh, you went to this dragon's hoard and you got the treasure, but you're going to take about 2 months to be able to go back and forth to get the gold out one at a time.
It's just not compelling gameplay to use the encumbered system unless there's something to it, story-wise, like you said. First of all, if you're not going to use this mechanic, tell your players up front.
Yes.
If you're not going to use any mechanic, tell your players up front. At a certain point, you'll say, hey, doing this is going to encumber you. And your players should know that's a possibility. They can decide what to do about that. Oh, we're gonna do this cool thing that's gonna make it not encumber us. Or, oh, we're gonna, you know, just deal with it and just take the encumbered penalty, which is fine.
I'm not going to use it with items, like individual items, but I might be like, oh, well, you've got this giant statue, you know, you're trying to, you know, this magical statue you need to get. It's too heavy for you to take it, but it's also very dangerous to leave it out where it is. So you might have to figure out
how to fix that problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, the other aspects to it, other than the fact that we don't want to use it, is the fact that your speed decreases by 10.
Yep.
And your armor check penalties also increase.
Yeah, by 2. And if you don't wear any armor, you just get a -2 conditional bonus, or conditional penalty, sorry.
Yeah.
Next is Enervated, one of the most crippling status effects that I've ever read in my entire life in any game. This is actually nuts. Enervated is going to come with a condition value that's going to decide a lot of things. First of all, you're going to get a penalty to any roll that requires your proficiency that is equal to the condition value. Now, yeah, like flat checks don't, right?
Sure.
So there you go. But okay, here's the thing though. The conditional penalty can't be greater than your level. So if you're level 3 and you have Enervated 4, the penalty is still just 3 for you. Also for spellcasters, when you're casting spells, you must treat your character's level as reduced by the condition value. So if you're level 3 and you're Enervated 1, your spell casting level is 2.
Yeah.
Which is lower. Now, that might make it so that you lose access to some of your spells, but that has its kind of own set of mechanics. You don't lose the spells if you have them prepared, you just can't cast them.
Yeah.
So if the Enervated goes away before you rest, you can now use those spells, and they're still available for you.
It was me thinking.
Once per day, you can make a fortitude save against the DC of the thing that gave you the Enervated condition. That's going to persist throughout the entirety of the duration.
Write that down.
Yeah, write that down as a player and as a GM, both of you, because one of you's going to forget it. Once per day, it doesn't say you have to do it at the beginning of the day. You can just do it whenever you want to do it. And if you succeed, you reduce the condition value by 1. If you critically succeed, you reduce it by 2. Now, you can also spend a day of downtime to automatically reduce the Enervated value by 1. And during that day of downtime, you can also make a check. So you can, on one day that you spend just trying to get rid of the condition, you can reduce it by 1 automatically and up to 2 more by critically succeeding the roll.
Next is Enfeeble, which will have a conditional value associated with it. You're going to take that penalty to any attacks or damage rolls, as well as strength checks, to anything that you do that involves that.
Yep.
So good luck being a barbarian with that.
Next is Entangled. This is going to give you another condition, which is Hampered. It's going to make you Hampered 10. It's also going to force you to make a DC 5 flat check whenever you use anything with the Manipulate action, or you lose that action. Just to be clear, the order of operations here is declare the action, roll the action, roll a DC 5 flat check. If you fail the DC 5 flat check, nothing happens. If you succeed the DC 5 flat check, resolve the action.
I feel that it's important that I point out that we've been talking about Hampered this entire time.
Yeah.
And the last thing that we're going to be talking about is what Hampered is.
I did it on purpose because it's so easy.
Hampered is a condition that also has a value associated with it, and that is going to equal the amount of speed in which you are reduced by.
Yep, it is the opposite of Accelerated. All right, everybody, head down to the comments. Let us know, what is your favorite condition to give to players, I guess. I don't know. If you're a player, what is your favorite condition to give to enemies, I guess. Let us know down in the comments. While you're down there, hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button to subscribe to the channel and make us smile and happy. We hug every time we get a new subscriber. Please don't touch me there. Oh, not there either. Not there either. Hit the notification bell if you want to get notified whenever we post new videos. And if you're done with all that stuff, you can go over to Twitter and talk to us there. I'm at KrugQT on Twitter.
You can head over to Twitter and tell me who you think Krug is hugging every time there's a subscription. At IndigoQT, or you can talk to all of us on all of the following social medias right here. Until next time, we've been GameGorgon.
You're not going to guess who it is.
Himself.